whilst the Man of Steel Awards take the headline spot for Super League Awards, there's also one set of awards that is voted for by you, the fans of Rugby League, and that is the Super League Pod Awards, or more affectionately known to many as the Sloppies. And we're on to the 6th annual Sloppies this year. And I'm going to take you through now the shortlisted people we picked out for each of the awards. Not forgetting, though, that on every one of the Super League Pod Awards, you can pick your own candidate. You don't have to go with the shortlist. It's all there for you to make your votes count. So we're going to go through some of the awards for you now that have shortlists, and we're starting with the Super League Pod Player of the Year, which of course was won last year by John Bateman, who is now doing great things in the NRL. The players shortlisted on our list here is Warrington's Blake Austin, Salford Red Devils is Jackson Hastings, Johnny Lomax of St Helens, and then Luke Thompson also of St Helens. Onto the Young Player of the Year, which was won by actually St Helens, is Danny Richardson last year, but there's one St Helens candidate this year around, and that is Matty Lees. Joining him is a forward who's got remarkably similar individual stats to Matty Lees this season, and that's London Broncos' Rob Butler. Harry Newman of the Leeds Rhinos and Morgan Smithies of the Wigan Warriors are two teenagers who round out this list. Onto the Old Player of the Year award, an award we brought into the Sloppies in 2018, and Ben Westwood won it in 2018. This year, this is for anyone aged over 32 at the start of the season, and this year Bryson Goodwin, Tommy Luluai, James Roby and Zeb Taylor are shortlisted, but of course any player who was over 32 before the first game of this season kicked off is open for you to cast your votes for. Returning award, which has not been in the Super League Pod Awards since the very first of our Sloppies back in 2014, and that is Coach of the Year. That's because this year there's 3 outstanding candidates. There's Justin Holbrook, who's led St Helens to a record league winning margin. There's Danny Ward, who performed remarkably with his London Broncos side, almost defying all expectations and just missing out in staying in Super League in the final round, but 20 points for them was a magnificent achievement. And then there's Ian Watson, who has got hotly tipped to be in the bottom part of the table, Salford Red Devils, right the way to the grand final. So 3 outstanding candidates to vote for on our shortlist. If there's any other coach you think has matched them, you can pick them too, but you'd be foolish to pick someone else. Best signing. So this is a player who enjoyed his first full season, his first season at all for the Super League club that he's been at this year. Josh Drinkwater, for his spell at Catalan Dragons, won it last year. I don't think he's on the nominees list this year, but you could vote for him if you're impressed with him at Hull Kingston Rovers. But the 4 nominees we picked out on the shortlist is Blake Austin, Tuilola here of Salford, Lachlan Coote and Luke Yates. Then obviously it's the worst signing now. This award almost always goes to a Warrington player in the past, but this year there's kind of a Warrington player, but the shortlisted people we picked out this year are Matt Frawley at Huddersfield, Aquila Uarty at Huddersfield, Matty Smith of the Catalan Dragons with a sliver of Warrington in there as well, and Tuilola here of Leeds Rhinos as the worst signings for Super League this season. The next 2 awards we don't have a shortlist for, because our experience is that every voter has a different opinion on these awards, although we do call them in combination the Carl Ablett Awards, as they are for the most underrated player and the most overrated player in Super League in the last 12 months. Carl Ablett, of course, one season winning both awards, which was a spectacular achievement from him. Then there's the See You Next Tuesday award. This is for someone who, this is not really just Super League specific, we're looking at the whole of Rugby League with this award. And so the shortlist we've drawn up is Andrew Chalmers, the very outspoken Bradford Bulls chairman, Kenny Edwards, the very explosive in more ways than one forward who was at the Catalan Dragons in 2019, and then Featherstone Rovers supporters, not the good supporters who've done a lot of travelling around, especially in the playoffs, but those who've managed to rack up a whole raft of charges this year against their club and almost have their games shut down from having fans there because of their behaviour throughout the whole of 2019. And then the racist fan, in inverted commas, who was at the Cup semi-finals, he's on that shortlist too. But you can pick anyone else who you've not been particularly satisfied with their behaviour in the world of Rugby League in 2019. The big award of the Super League Pod Awards, the one that you won't see anywhere else at all. That's the Listener's Listener of the Year, aka the Dr. Bob Phillips Award, named after the first Super League Pod listener to win that award. So if you're a Super League Pod listener and there's another listener who you've been particularly entertained by this year in their fan reviews of the news or of the games, or you've interacted with on social media or seen at games, then nominate that person to be your Super League Pod Listener's Listener of the Year. We do then look at the wider world of rugby league as well. So we have an award that we brought in 2018 that we're continuing, which is the Best Brit Abroad. So this looks at which UK export to the NRL has had the most impressive year in 2019. Obviously, John Bateman's on that shortlist, James Graham, Josh Hodgson and Elliot Whitehead. So a very Canberra Raiders focused shortlist there, but you can vote for any of the other British players who've been in the NRL this season. There's been plenty. There's the Women's Player of the Year award. Now we've pulled together a shortlist of 4, but you can again vote for anyone you've been impressed by in the Women's Super League this year. But we've picked out Chantel Crowell from St Helens, Kelsey Gentles from Castleford Tigers, Courtney Hill from the Leeds Rhinos and Rhiannon Marshall of the Castleford Tigers. We also ask for you to pick your Championship or League One Player of the Year, so anyone outside of Super League that's impressed you on the playing field. The Match Official of the Year, so which of our fantastic referees, touch judges, in-goal judges, etc. have you been most pleased with in 2019? And also we ask for you to pick out your Community Rugby League Champion. So this is anyone from the community game, from volunteers you know around the game that you want to give a special nod out for. We'll make sure all these people get a mention when we do our Super League Awards show. So that is the categories and the shortlist we've drawn up. Of course, you can vote for anyone you choose to in these awards. It's fully down to you. So get voting for the 6th annual Sloppies.